So in this video I'm doing a from memory essay on this photo, which I think is a fantastic photo and an important photo as well. What I shall be putting up in the corner somewhere is the photo which I'm talking about, and its name, I don't think it officially had a name, but it's, I think if you were to Google children in a field looking at Louis Bleriot, French, flying from Calais, however you want to call it. Going all French here. So what this is a photo of the first ever successful flight over the English Channel from France to the UK. And if you look at that plane, you're like, holy crap. That's like, I've made paper aeroplanes which look more sturdy than that thing. So the story behind it is, well, not so much behind that photo, but about the event that photo depicts. Is there was a guy, Louis, or Lou, we'll just call him Lou, and his second name, Bleriot, which I think, I've been told, in French also means badger. Bleriot? Badger? We'll call him the Flying Badger. So what he was a guy who was kind of into flying stuff. He wasn't like a businessman, he wasn't like a big politician, he wasn't like a guy that was trying to like create an industry or anything like that. He was just like, I love tinkering with stuff, let's go try and make a plane. And his first plane, or one of the first planes I tried to make, was an ornithopter. If you don't know what an ornithopter is, that's like, it's like, why did you ever think that would fly? Ornithopters were planes, effectively, but instead of thinking of, let's put a motor at the front and like push wind through the aerofoils, they're like, how about we do it totally like a bird and have a thing that flaps like that? You're like, oh, just, we really were not that smart in those days. So he originally tried to make an ornithopter to fly. Funnily enough, that failed. However, he made like a little company with his friend, and they were trying to make business, but he was losing money all the time because he couldn't make a plane that worked, and he was on the verge of bankruptcy. So Louis was like, oh no, I'm almost bankrupt, and I'm gonna have to like go homeless or whatever in those days. This was in 1909, so before the First World War, and there was a competition on from a newspaper in the UK. I think it was the Daily Mail. And it was £500 for whoever could fly over the English Channel successfully. And then that was, after a while, a whole bunch of people had tried it, and one guy got all the way about like 3/4 of the way, and then his engine got in trouble 6 miles away from Dover, and had to do the first ever landing of an aeroplane on water, aka crash landed into the sea. So then the prize money went up, and it went up to £1,000, which in 1909 is pretty much like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. If you could do that, if you had £1,000, you were loaded. So this was Louis' like last chance, and it really was a last chance, because like, if you look at the plane that's up in the sky there, if that doesn't make it to land, you're dead. You're effectively dead. The English Channel is some bloody cold water, and if you're not able to swim for 6 miles or get a boat to take you home, you're in big trouble. So anyway, he made his little plane, and he flew off from Calais. He only got to a maximum height of about like 200 feet or something like that. And if you know how big the White Cliffs of Dover, you kind of go, he needs to keep his height up when he gets to the other end. And he went also without a compass. I don't know why he went without a compass. Maybe that was part of the competition, I'm not too sure. But that was one of the things, like, yeah, he didn't even have a compass, and he was flying in fog. The only indicator of the direction that he was going is, as he left Calais, as he left land, there was a ship out at sea in the English Channel, which he knew was on its way to Dover, to England. And he's like, well, if I follow that, I'm going the same direction as that, I should reach England. The maximum speed that his plane ever got to, I think, was only like 40 miles an hour. And it was fortunate because it was so misty and raining at one point, that actually cooled down his engine so he could actually make it the whole. So it was effectively a water-cooled engine, thanks to the fact he was flying in some rain, or certainly mist. And there's a quote that he keeps on going on about how for 10 minutes he was flying and he couldn't see anything. He was in mist and he didn't know if he was above the ground or about to hit the ground or going left or right. And anyway, when he got to the other side, he found out he was a good like 6 kilometers in the wrong way, and he had to do like a big spiral round to get to where he's landing. Where he landed, there were a whole bunch of people from the Daily, I think it was the Daily Mail. They're kind of going, "Holy shit, you made it! Well done, bravo, bravo!" And he was like French with his moustache, and he was like, "Yeah, totally, yeah, give me some dosh." And that was it. He was the first man, Bleriot, first man to ever fly successfully that distance over water and land and not be dead at the end. So it's like, holy shit, that can happen. And the reason why that's like, oh well, bravo. But what that was a major turning, major mental change for the UK. So the UK before were just like, oh, if we ever get in a war, we've got our army and we've got our navy. That's all we really need. Yeah, as long as we've got loads of boats, we're going to be absolutely fine. And now they kind of went, holy shit, people can fly over. People who aren't multi-millionaire businessmen that have unlimited funds or anything like that. Just like some guy who tinkers in his shed that made his own little kind of plane out of balsa wood and tinfoil, it seems like, or like, and cloth, can fly over here. Holy crap, what's going to happen whenever governments get this technology? When governments get this technology, holy shit, the UK were like, right, we're going to have to really boost up our defences, but also we kind of go, we need to have an air force now. We need to be able to fight off potential planes. So it was a massive, and to the point where they think, wait, do we even need like a Royal Navy? Do we need a Navy force anymore? Is that completely useless? We don't know. So it was a massive turning point, especially before the First World War, where the UK was like, holy crap, people can get into the UK via their little airplanes. We need to really kind of go, hold on a minute here, let's develop an air force and be able to fly back and attack people. So I just think that the photo that you're seeing here is a fantastic photo of showing, I'm guessing, French children that are working, possibly at that age, in a field. In those days, children worked in a field, and it's the fact that it's just kind of misty in the background, showing off the fact that it was a foggy, misty day that he was taking off from. And also, you can see the plane and just how delicate it is, how it is. You also just think, in terms of aerodynamics, you would think they would cover it all up in some sort of something, but instead of having all those holes, you would think that's just not aerodynamic, and all that stuff. So I think it's cool. You can tell it's if it's him leaving from Calais, and it's obviously looking out towards the west of France. Because that would be the direction he'd be going. So I wonder if that's a little nod to like, hey, Wright brothers. I highly doubt it is, because Wright brothers were over in America, which is obviously west from where Calais is. And I just think it's a fantastic capture showing both the agricultural landscape. I don't know how to say it, but the fact that, you know, you're not taking it from an airport, you're not taking it from a street with cars underneath it. All it was people in fields in those days, and children in fields. I don't think they were really playing that much. Those were children that were put to work at a very young age, and yet you can see the height that the plane is, the direction it's going, and the kind of, and also the fact that they're pointing up at it. You can just kind of go, holy crap. In those days, they were like, what the hell is that? That's like us seeing Batman kind of stuff. Like, oh my God, there's Batman. Louis the Flying Badger. He was Badger Man. Flying Badger. Flying Badger Man. I reckon that's what they all called him in France. But yeah, so that's, I don't know who to credit that took this photo. I know Getty Images definitely had, that's where I saw it. I saw it in a book of Getty Images. Oh God, I'm going to be stuck in this traffic all day. And some of those aspects of that story which I've said, I think are all true. There may be some minor technical differences, which I'm sure you're up for hearing about. But yeah, again, these videos are all about just giving you the kind of the broad story of the image. For in a pub quiz, if somebody says, what is that photo? You go, that is the flying badger, Louis Berlot. And that's him flying from Calais to Dover, the first ever guy to successfully fly and land his plane from flying over the English Channel. And that caused a tidal change in the British political defence psychology of kind of going, we need to start defending ourselves from both air and sea now. And it was a very important moment in terms of aviation. Not obviously as big as, you know, the Wright brothers we managed to fly, but this was a monumental, successful flight done by somebody who wasn't, you know, like surrounded by money and infinite, you know, ability. It's just a guy just like making bits of planes and stuff. So there you go. That's my Know Your Photography information thing, my bob for today. Hope that helps. Bye bye.